Trails, to me, is a PC-first franchise, even if the games are no longer developed with PC in mind. The reason being, not only is PC where the series got its start, but it's where it has continued to thrive and had the longest life. Every currently released Trails game is on PC or announced to be in some form or another. And I have little doubt at this point that Hajimari no Kiseki will be someday as well when that eventually makes its way out of Japan. For a series like Trails, which many of us love dearly because of how vast and connected its story universe is, having one platform where they can all call home is a must. So when Cold Steel 3 was announced for PC this past January, imagine my excitement. I said excitement, not surprise. When it comes to Cold Steel 3 on PC, there aren't many surprises to be had. Not in the port's announcement, nor with the port's quality. Trails of Cold Steel 3's PC port is simply very good. Thankfully it is, because people were looking forward to it from the very day NIS America announced Cold Steel 3. From day one, there were requests that the duty be handled by famed PC game developer Peter Durante Thoman, otherwise known as the man responsible for Xseed's PC ports of Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. Surely enough, that is exactly what happened, and Cold Steel 3's PC development was placed in the hands of Durante and his new company, PH3 Games. So, what are you getting when you buy Cold Steel 3 on PC? All the options you could want in a modern PC configuration, and good performance levels on all scopes of hardware. The few things to note here are that, for one, Cold Steel 3 is Falcom's first game built from the ground up specifically for PlayStation 4. The hardware floor on this game is higher than the previous two, and the ceiling lower. Cold Steel 3 is a more taxing game on PC hardware than its predecessors, and with good reason. Next to note is that while I am largely satisfied with the port's optimization, I would err on the side of caution when picking your visual settings. I know this isn't uncommon with PC games, but one downside is that Trails of Cold Steel 3's performance can vary a bit wildly depending on the map you're on in the game. Meaning, while the settings you pick may run the game perfectly during the opening section at Juno Naval Fortress or the tutorial dive in Einhell Keep, you may run into problems on a map a bit more intensive, such as the It's Me a Great Forest in Chapter 1. Trails of Cold Steel 3 on PS4, while for the most part a technically competent game, had several problem areas, maps that would absolutely kill performance, even or perhaps especially on PS4 Pro. Areas like that included It's Me a Great Forest, the dungeon at the end of Chapter 4, Heimdall during the Summer Festival, especially the Sock District, and the Ismaelis Garden. So when getting this game on PC, I was less interested in sitting down for an immersive, full third playthrough, and more so concerned with seeing these locations with my own eyes, and getting to benchmark them with my hardware. The results were good. I know I'm in a minority here, but I play PC games on a 4K screen at 60 frames per second. With my GTX 1080 Ti, that was easy enough. The game runs at a virtual lock 60 for me with 4x multi-sample anti-aliasing and several other features on. Again, I know that I'm a French case, but if you're looking to run the game at 1440 or 1080, you're going to be fine. I'm confident you'll find the game runs well even on aging hardware, so long as you take the time to optimize your settings. Is it perfect? No, nothing ever is. Let's get to nitpicks. One PS4 problem area turned out to be no better for me on PC, the Festival Sock District. Perhaps it's CPU bottlenecked or just the Fire engine, which Cold Steel is developed on, not liking that map. I don't know. It's just one map, so it's not a big deal, but it was frustrating to not see it run any better on PC than PS4, regardless of how far I cranked the settings down. Next, I find ambient occlusion to not be helpful in this game. Don't turn it on. To me, it grossly affected shadows around the mouths of character models and made characters' faces look dirty. Just turn it off and save that GPU tax while not having to look at that. I'm also not a fan of this game's button prompts. They're the same prompts from Durante's Cold Steel 1 and 2 ports, but they look really out of place in Cold Steel 3. PlayStation icons are especially jarring for how low their resolution is when they appear just about anywhere. This is a call out to PH3 Games. It's time to up your icon package for Cold Steel 4, and go back and fix CS3 while you're at it. Speaking of fixes, there are a couple of localization fixes missing in the PC version. As you may know, earlier this year, NISA put out version 1.02 for PlayStation 4, which included several script changes for the game. This was the kind of thing I called for in my review of the localization last fall, and the patch is great. But a couple of fixes are missing on PC. However, I'm not referring to the script itself, what we call the scenario. I repeat, I'm not referring to retranslations and things like that, words that appear inside of the text boxes themselves. Those corrections are in the PC version. What is missing is a change made to a graphic and one that was made to audio. The first time you encounter McBurn and his name tag appears on screen, it is supposed to say, McBurn, the Almighty Conflagration. This used to say McBurn the Blazing Demon in the original PS4 versions, but it was corrected in 1.02. However, that correction is not in the PC version. Another one that hits closer to home has to do with Lloyd Bannings. Many of you don't know this, but in the 1.0 version of Cold Steel 3, there were 2 instances where Lloyd was referred to as an inspector of the former Crossbell Police Department instead of a detective. That was changed in 1.01, and the reason I know it is because I had an early review copy of the game. One of the lines that was changed is a voiced line by Rean. NISA edited the audio itself. It's subtle, but if you listen closely, you can hear it.
He and the other members overcame so much together, and now he's a fugitive in his own home. Lloyd Bannings.
Don't believe me? Here's the exact same line in the PC version.
The man we're talking about was its leader. He and the other members overcame so much together, and now he's a fugitive in his own home. Inspector Lloyd Bannings.
Inspector. There in the audio, not in the text. It's a nitpick, but it does annoy me as someone who sees the PC versions of these games as the definitive versions. If I'm right in assuming PH3 will be delivering us Cold Steel 4 next year, which I can't imagine they wouldn't be, then hopefully that means making some lingering corrections to CS3 is still within the scope of their work with NISA. Finally, one last nitpick that bears mentioning is that this port does not come with additional English voice acting like Cold Steel 1 and 2's PC releases did. To be fair to NISA, it's not entirely accurate to say that Cold Steel 3 has less voice acting than 1 and 2. Now that all 3 are on PC, we can compare how many voice files each game has. Bear in mind, the voice files include audio other than dialogue. I'm referring to things characters yell in battle, for example, so the following count isn't perfect. Take this as an indicator, rather than a strict number of how many voice text boxes there are in each game. However, looking at the English voice file counts for the 3 games, they stack up as follows. Cold Steel 1, 14,209. Cold Steel 2, 15,816. Cold Steel 3, 14,586. In other words, even without additional voice acting added to the game, Cold Steel 3 has more voice files than 1, but less than 2. Then again, CS3 is the largest game of the 3, so it's understandable players would walk away feeling as though CS3 is more sparsely voice acted than the first 2 games. Would I like to have more English voices on PC someday? Absolutely. Frankly, the fact that there are partially voiced scenes in the game, usually where Rean is silent but other characters are not, has always been jarring to me. However, this gripe ultimately isn't with NISA, but with Falcom. It should not take a Western publisher going above and beyond to record more dialogue than was already in Japanese in order to fix this problem. Is it going to change anytime soon? Pessimistically, I seriously doubt it, so I digress. To wrap this up, is Cold Steel 3 on PC good? Heck yes it is. Should you get it? Yeah, if your Steam or GOG library is where you most like to play Trails. The one little caveat I'll add is, given that this game came out last year on PS4 and the Switch version is slated for this summer, Cold Steel 3 is still a $60 game, which makes it the most expensive game in the series. That's a steep price tag, I know. Is the game worth that? In my opinion, it is. Cold Steel 3 is an adventure and a half on top of being a great port. That said, this is PC, and we all like to save a buck or two where we can. The game has already gone on sale once on Steam for 25% off back during Golden Week, so if you can wait, I'm sure you'll get more opportunities. And in the meantime, you can add the already confirmed PC port of Cold Steel 4 to your wishlist. Or perhaps you're also looking forward to the Switch port of CS3. Let me know below if you'd like me to test run that too, because I'm seriously considering it. Don't forget, if you like what we do here on the channel, to also like and subscribe, all that YouTuber goodness. Hitting the bell icon also notifies you of new videos. If you want to take the more direct route of support, you can also join the channel's Patreon and get little perks like your name at the end of videos like this. That's all for now. See you guys in the next one.